Hello everybody, Dren608 here again with another unconditional surrender video. This is the third episode of the German diplomatic disaster, early German diplomatic disaster series. This is a playthrough from Vlogs against my opponent, whose board game geek handle is Hinrik, capital V, Hinrik, capital V. Game is published by GMT Games, designed by Salvatore Vasta. We are playing variable entry, so you're not sure when your reinforcements are going to come. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but it's my second game playing with variable entry against an opponent, and it definitely can change how you do things, depending on if you get your stuff early or if you get your stuff late. Same thing with your opponent's stuff. So anyway, we left off last turn. We had rolled the weather for May, and the weather was fair in the cold, fair in the mild, and poor in the Mediterranean. Being fair in the West, kind of over here in France and stuff, since it's possible it'll be mud in June, I don't want to lose a fair weather turn. So you will see me. I am in the declaration war phase. I declare war on the Dutch. He goes and puts his things on the card, and then I declare war on the Belgians. And he sets up properly, so no mistakes there. They're not allowed to declare war. We go into economy phases, just set up our stuff. Okay. We're at the strategic movement phase, which none of us did anything with. And then I attacked his air with his French air with my German air. So he was at 0 and I was at +2. I only rolled a 3 and he rolled a 4, so we were 1 each. And so then I went out of him again at +1, got a 2, and he got a 1, so we're 1 each. And then I went after him again at a 0, rolled a 6, he rolled a 6 minus 2, which is a 4, so I got 2 sorties on him there. And went after him again. 6 minus 1 was a 5, and he got a 1 minus 4, so he was a 1, so I got the last 2 sorties. So I got 6 for 4. I'm a little bit more used to getting 6 for 3 with the Germans against the French, but that's the way it goes sometimes. Then I moved up my airplanes from their Baltic coast situations. And I let off with the, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit and scroll over to this part of the map for you to take a look at what I'm doing here in the West. So I let off with the 2nd Panzer. I know a lot of people will lead off with infantry and hope the Panzers can do some kind of breakthrough. With the new weather table, I'm not so sure I'm going to get fair in June, and I want to make sure that I am up at least to the French border by poor weather. So started off with the 2nd Panzer, moved in, had to set my movement points left, and then I attacked the Belgians, I believe it is. Oh, we just did combat commitment. Oh, he committed and I did not. Or he did not commit and I committed. Actually, I think we both committed. What I remember. Yeah, we both committed. So I had a +5 and he had a +1. I rolled a net of a 7. He rolled a 2, which flipped him and retreated him. Now, and then he's ground support comes back in 5 turns. I did not take the hex. I instead wanted to have 2 shots at pushing him out of Sedan. So Sedan, what's that? Sedan. I don't know how to pronounce it in French. To me, it's that car city, Sedan. So I went ahead and went after the French. 3 movement points left. I start off at 4, -1 for the city. he started off at +1. I think we're in combat commitment here. And he committed as well as I did, so he's using up his tanks marker right away. I used the guy way in the back because he couldn't reach much else. So I went up to 5, he went up to 3, and I rolled a 7, and he rolled a net of 7, so nothing happened there. So then I used my last 3 movement points to go after him again, and I used the guy that's got the most sorties that's further back. I'm trying to work my way forward so that if I make a penetration, I have the plane that's further forward able to help me, do things. So that's what I try to do here. And then I was +5 to his +1. I rolled an 11, and he rolled a 1. 6-1 split. Very lucky German die roll. Not gonna lie. Eliminated the French infantry and took Sedan. So I got 3 will points on him. So next up, I move the 1st Panzer. That's 1-2 down the rail. 3-4 to take Brussels. That conquers Belgium. So we take a quick break here. Goes into my conquered countries. My national will went up by 2. I got a pro marker into the Diplomacy Cup. And unfortunately, there was there's no pro markers out on the field. I can't place the adjacent to anything. I kind of hoped there might be a pro marker sitting out on the field for the allies that I could get rid of, but just didn't work out that way. So these are going to be kind of wasted. I should point out that's interesting that it doesn't report that. I'm going to back up here for just a second. I want to see something. Yeah, see, I put down the airdrop marker, but oh, there it is. I didn't see the line in it that it had done that. So, sorry, I was getting confused. So put the pro marker in there, and that's all I get out of that. That cost me 1, 2, 3, 4, so I had 6 movement points left, and I spent 3 to attack the Brits that are under the airdrop marker. I felt like I really needed to take Lille in order to make this whole shenanigan work. So that's what I was trying to do here. He threw in a tanks and his airplane. We had to go +1 to +1 on the airplanes. We each took a sortie. Well, with the die rolls there, it's 6 to 5 doesn't do anything. Then we went back to resetting. The Germans start off with +3, +2 for the airplane, -1 for the city. Rolled a 7. The British were +1 for British, +2 for tanks, +2 for airplane, -2 for airdrop. That's why they're only at +3. 7 to a 9, which 7 to a 9 is still a diamond, so that didn't work for me. So then I had to use my last 3 movement points, and I threw in, I believe we both threw in aircraft again. So we set the die roll modifiers for that, 3 to a 2, so neither one of us did anything really bad to the other. He's up to 2, I'm up to 3. It put me back up to +5 to his +1 because he's +1 for British, +2 for the fighter, but -2 for the airdrop. And then I rolled an 11, and he managed to roll just high enough to not be eliminated. So he was flipped and retreated, and of course I went ahead and took the hex because, hey, it takes down France's will, another 2, and their factory count down by 1. And 1, 2, and I decided that wasn't the one I wanted to move. I wanted to move this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and attacked the 9th. And the French don't have anything. So I was 2 to his 1, and then I added a sortie to make myself 4 to 1. I rolled a 4, he rolled a 10. Or no, he rolled first. He rolled a 4. He was getting ahead of me. So he rolled a 4, and I rolled a 10. And that is a DD result. A 10 to a 4 is a DD. But because of the way I had put my armored units around him and the fact that the 7th was retreated here instead of across the Marne, I think he probably should have retreated across the Marne. It left this guy no retreat route, so he died. Instead, which I was happy with. And then I was like, well, I've got 2 movement points left. I think we both threw in our airplanes here, so we're both -1. So he got a 4 and I got a 1, so I took 2 sorties to get through. I think I was going after the BEF, hoping to get a really lucky split. So I'm +4 and I get a 9. He's +1 and he gets a 6. So he's just retreated. If I could have gotten him to roll like a 1 or a 2, even a 3, he could have been DD'd, and I would have eliminated the BEF, which would have been great for me, but not for him. So now we go ahead and stick the 6th out there. We're going to get really crazy here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which conquers the Netherlands, so I get 2 more willpower and such and such. This army goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and attacks that infantry unit. And I managed to only get a 6 to a 2, so it was only a retreat. I needed to get a much higher number. If I could have gotten up to like 8 or 9, could have had a chance to get another one of those DDs and eliminate a French unit because of retreat routes. But that didn't work. So 3, 4. And I got an 8 to a 5, which was a retreat, so I managed to push up next to Paris. And then the Nor army just kind of walked in there and said, the heck with this. Just wanted to not let the British, French fleet come up here and drop something in Amsterdam right behind me or some stupid thing like that. And then I moved on down to the river to be closer. And then this infantry unit moved up to there from way up north. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 just to get there. So I have a semblance of a line. I do have some retreat routes for my infantry, so I'm not too worried here. Forgot to put my garrisons in for my conquests. And then I basically reset and said, have at it. And my airdrop marker came back in 3 turns, so I didn't lose it. So risking it there was, I mean, it was a calculated risk, but I really felt like I needed to get the BEF out because they're going to get a second airplane here really quick. And I need to have as much uh, room to attack and kill French armies because that's the name of the game, right? You got to take out the French armies, not got to take out the French armies in a few French cities in order to conquer France. You can't just do it by capturing cities. It takes too much, and with him being able to bring in a second the Western Desert Force, since he has no Mediterranean enemy, he'll be able to bring that into France here as well. So there's going to be a whole lot of, oh my gods. I'm going to have to fight 2 British units in France. So the idea is to get rid of most of the French army, conquer France, and then only have the British standing alone by themselves. Maybe I can, isolate them and take them out that way. I don't know. I'm not confident in the conquest of France. I think I might be able to pull it off by September, but I really need to take it out by August so that I have enough time to try and do something with Italy, whether it's attack Vichy France and come across, the southern portion here, or mount something over the Alps or whatever. I need to have an extra turn to do that. And I don't know if I can get France out by August. I found that it doesn't go the way you want. Let's say it that way. Okay, so we got here. We go to the Western Allies, and I think the first thing he did, he went down to Italy here and did some attacks. I'm pretty sure. Or maybe not. Oh no, that was him placing his French air unit in Dijon. That's right. Commonwealth puts their trade and lend-lease on stuff for May of 41, 12 turns from now. Policy evaluation markers in June 41, so that's when the Russians can start rolling to come attack the Germans. And we put our factory loss markers in, so that'll start affecting us next turn. And then he moved some of the French around. He basically gave up on the fort. I'm like really confused as to what we're doing here. I lost the units here. I'm not sure what he's doing. Oh, he started to move the Western Desert Force. He wasn't really sure where it was going to go. So he kind of just said, I know where I want it to end up. And he put it, just kind of left it at sea to remind himself to move it. And I said, that's fine. So it's really not allowed to stay at sea, but he's trying to figure out where he's going to move it later. He just doesn't want to forget to move it. And I was okay with that. So now he starts doing an attack here with the Italians. Oh, he starts off at 0 and then -2. And then he threw in his airplane. And he threw in his tanks marker 2, I believe. So he ended up with a grand total of 3. I had a 7. So his tanks marker went away, and then so he did a couple of attacks there. Didn't really amount to much. So he ended up at a 0 to +2. He was just looking for some lucky splits here. I think he did one more. Yeah, he attacked out of here with the 9th, and he got a 1 to my 9, so he got flipped and stopped. So he said enough of that, and he brought the fleet up to here. We knew it could get to there. That's 10 movement points. He wasn't sure what port, if he was going to move the French out first and drop it in Calais or Le Havre. And while he debated that, he tried to figure out where would he put his units. And he was like, okay, I'm going to have this happen first. So he had the guy in the Maginot Fort in that junction of the rail line next to what is that? Next to Metz. Attacked the German First Army. He was +1 to +2. Why did he get to +3? Oh, because he had an airplane. So he got a 6, and I got a 6. And he attacked again. He did not throw in an airplane this time, and he got a 7 to my 4. So I was forced to retreat, and he took the hex. And then he attacked the second. He was trying to kill a German army here. And he did not add the airplane, so he got a 4, and I got a 5. And then he did it again. He got a 7, and I got a 7, so nothing happened there. So then he activated the 10th Army in Paris. Did not add the airplane, so he had a 5 to my 5. And then he did it again. He got a 2 total, and I got a 4, which is an AS. 2 to 4 is an AS, so that stopped that attack. Then he took the guy that was face down, moved him behind the river and behind Paris. And then he moved the Alpini out. Had the BF and the guy that moved out attack the German infantry unit with an assault. So you see him putting down assault markers. He had a grand total of +1 for the French, +1 for the British, and +2 for an airplane. So he had +4. And then he rolled a 1. And I rolled a 6, so that didn't work. And what happened next? Oh, I think he attacked across the river. So he was at 0 to +2, rolled a 2, and I rolled a 6. So that stopped that attack as well. Then he moved this guy sort of around the corner and into the fort that he had abandoned with the other unit to keep me from just taking it. And then he abandoned that fort to put to bolster up his Marne line. He's trying to, get some sort of a bottleneck, maybe kill some French or German infantry units and stuff. I can see what he's trying to do here. And then he just dropped himself into Le Havre. And then he had the Italian Navy come and pick up the Malta guy and bring him up to Genoa. And since France was invaded, he decided he needed to move an Italian over to the border. He thought about moving a real Italian army, and he said, "Nah, we'll just leave the garrison out there till we see the Germans coming. And then we'll move more units that way." And there you have it. So now we're doing sortie resetting. Oh, no, he's doing supply. And went to the Soviets. He didn't do a thing with the Soviets. He hasn't moved the Soviets hardly at all this game. He's done a couple of strategic redeployments and some builds when he gets ceded territories, but pretty much he hasn't done anything with them. So we get to Axis replacements. I believe it's going to just be taking down my airplanes. down his British airplane. And flipped over his BEF, of course. Not sure what he's... He fixed some naval units there. I think it might have been the French units. And of course the French Air Forces reset themselves. He flips over his infantry unit. And... yeah, it's the Italian Air Force getting itself back down to 2 sorties. Reset his convoy unit. And got into mobilization. And we went to the diplomacy phase. So I popped that up, and then we pulled out the things because we couldn't remember what was in the cup. So as you can see, there's 2 areas seized, a political failure, 2 political successes, 2 pro markers. So the Germans have a 4 in 10, 40%. 20% it's area seized, 1 in 10 it's political failure, a 30% chance of no events. So pretty good mix for the Germans. Went ahead and pulled, and of course I got a no event. And the West pulled no event, and I believe the Soviets pulled an area seized. Yeah. Again, we're not keeping up on the diplomacy, switching the turn phase. We got to get better at that going forward. We got to the end of turn phase. Germans got their garrisons. He got his 2 eliminated armies. Soviets got theirs. And we went to I'm not sure what that thing's telling me. Oh, the fighter with 0 sorties went to mobilization for the... we put up 4 sorties on him right away, moved it into June, and then all the tanks markers went back to the Western Allies. And then we went to the current weather phase, and I rolled poor for the mild zone, which is the one that really matters. And this is going to be pretty much where I think we stopped it. And moved the weather track to poor, and poor, and it was already in poor for the... It's already in poor for the warm zone. So it's all poor weather. I got a pretty good attack off. He got a little minor pushback here, failed to do anything in the Italian front, and then I got poor weather. So now I'm kind of stuck for a turn. I can't get anywhere. And he's going to have a 2nd British unit that he just dropped into Le Havre is going to be able to get into the front line. If I'd had a fair weather turn, I could have possibly, broke through a French line somewhere and kind of cut that nonsense off, maybe sealed it into Le Havre with an infantry unit or something. If I could have pushed through Paris to the south. But that didn't work. So now I have to think about what I'm going to do in poor weather when we start up again. This will catch us up on this particular series. So now this one I will try to get this out once a week, probably on the weekend after the night that we play. So if we play like on a Monday or Tuesday night, you'll see me do the video up on Saturday morning and then post it sometime over that following weekend. I hope to keep up to that schedule. Anyway, I am Dren608. This was Unconditional Surrender, the early German diplomatic disaster series. This is episode 3, I think. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Leave me comments. I will respond to them as fast as I'm able. And until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.